hopefully we're getting closer and closer to an announcement of a launch event, the more and more of these vehicles we see.
Okay, so we keep hearing more and more Cybertrucks. So we saw this video come out, which I'll play shortly. This Gregor truck, we like him. He says, this red truck left early this morning, Texas time. This is an additional transport of trucks from last night. In the last 24 hours, at least 11 Cybertrucks. And we've been seeing these go all over the country. So here's the quick video.
There is your Cybertrucks on the way.
Jeff, we've been seeing Cybertrucks all over the country. What do you think's happening? Where are we in this stage?
Well, I would say on the positive side, it's great to see the frequency increasing of vehicles leaving. I think the video was from SC Robinson Jr. He's been doing a great job capturing videos, and Gregor Truck as well. I believe you said that there were 11 that went out. So we're in the early stages. We built a release candidate vehicle, showed that off in July, and we're basically building successive vehicles to continue to exercise the line, as well as get through the remaining test cases to move from release candidate to production. Now, we don't know if that line's already been crossed, if they've moved internally from release candidate to production. That would be something for Tesla to announce or not announce. But I don't see these vehicles, wrapped. I don't see them, I see them going out for further testing is what I see, which, these engineering teams need it. The reliability teams need vehicles. So we saw some going out last week for crash testing. If they are doing, there was rumors of a cyber UI, the software team, and, will need some for drive tests. They can do most of their work, via simulators, but, at some point you want to drive test your code. So it's great. So I think bottom line, the frequency is increasing. It's great that, because that's how lines start. They start at low volumes, low rates. And then what you try to do station by station on the line is increase the velocity of the output and then detect what new failure modes you see while you're working on your existing failure modes. So hopefully we're getting closer and closer to an announcement of a launch event, the more and more of these vehicles we see.
Yeah, but it's like the first time I've actually seen or I've heard of any new vehicle that's all over multiple states. I mean, some people are thinking maybe they're doing advertisements. You think that could be the case?
You know what? I mean, it's possible. But I mean, there's a lot of, it's pretty viral on the web. So I don't know if it needs to be in one particular state or another. And again, this, it says, I think, over 1.8 million pre-orders. So there's certainly no shortage of information online about the product. I think they're going through test cases and they're running the product through to get it from release candidate is you believe you're on the final production tooling. And every part is production tooled, and you believe you've got a final assembly process. And what you're doing is you're just validating your X factory test cases to ensure that is indeed the case. So I believe they're proceeding. That's what I believe they're doing. They may have, like I said, they may have already completed that and they're into some low levels of production. We'll see.
All right. Well, Cybertruck is here. And it's so exciting because we can see multiple new vehicles coming out. And here's 180 wrapped cars sitting in Giga Shanghai's logistic lot. When will Tesla reveal the new Model 3? Rumors speculate a launch in late August or September. Either way, it shouldn't be too far off now. So here's the photo. You're seeing all these cars out in a lot. So, but they're still covered. What's your thinking about their progress here?
Yeah, the photo's not updating on my screen. Maybe it's something. Oh, there it goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I believe they're going through a line conversion right now, and I think in Tesla's future Gigafactory plans, if not their existing Gigafactory plans, they're probably going to want to build a covered carport lot to put new production vehicles they don't want detected via drone. So for now, yeah, they're covering them, and keeping them under wraps, which is encouraging. It's exciting. So it'll be interesting to see what's actually changed in the Model 3. What I'm most excited about are the COGS reductions. I believe that they figured out a significant, how to reduce a significant portion of COGS from the vehicle while making it actually a higher quality vehicle. And I think there's updates. I think there's updates to the headlights, the taillights. That's why we see them covered. But I mean, I know there's a lot of rumors about like sportier body contouring. I hope that's the case. When what would be better than, you know, to take the cost structure down and make it look even a little bit more sporty. But I'm not sure that that's the case. I just know what I see covered on the vehicle in testing. And then there's rumors about hardware 3.5 versus a hardware 4 for FSD. So Tesla's going to support, you know, there's over 4 million cars out there. Many, you know, most of those are on hardware 3. So Tesla's going to support that configuration. They think that can get to, you know, full self-driving levels of performance, and they believe, you know, hardware 4 will be that many times better. But, you know, so we'll see. These are right now, they're all rumors. Tesla's done a pretty good job of keeping the details and the specs of both the Cybertruck and the Model 3 refresh under wraps. So that's very hard to do when you have that many employees and suppliers involved. So they've got a pretty good thing going in their supply chain and their factory. So just hats off to the supply chain and the Tom Zoo's teams to keep these things under wraps all the way to the launch date. That's a great thing for Tesla. It's a great thing for also for consumers.
So Jeff, with your experience with product launches and so forth, between the two, the revised Model 3 and the Cybertruck, which one do you think is actually, you know, we've been seeing sightings of both of them. We've seen them covered. We've seen them multiple states. We're seeing more and more of them. Which one is ahead of the other, or are they both going to come out at the same time? And how would you announce this? You would probably do two separate, or would you just do one for Cybertruck? What do you think? What are you expecting?
So the first question is one ahead of the other? I believe the Model 3 refresh is going to have high reuse with the current Model 3, and they're going to make the changes critical to COGS or critical to reliability and performance improvements. So that one should be easier to ramp, and so they should be able to get their output per day up much faster than a Cybertruck. Cybertruck's all new parts. That's, you know, when we talk about reuse, you compare reuse, like what percent of reuse of the bill of material and the assembly processes and test processes you use from one launch to the other. I would venture to guess that Cybertruck is very near to a zero. I mean, maybe they're using, existing motors, maybe from Model S Plaid. We don't know that yet. We'll see. But I would say there's comparing the Cybertruck to the Model 3, there's far less reuse in the Cybertruck, far new things in the factory, far new things to procure, and with that, comes some slowness and delays in the beginning. So that'll be a slower ramp up. But I also think the Cybertruck's been designed in a way, from a design for manufacturability perspective, to go through the factory faster with less parts. So Tesla's, again, they view their factory as a product. And I believe that they're focused on, every generation of product that goes through that factory. When they redesign the factory and then they do the DFX work on the product, they're focused on output per square meter. They're focused on the velocity of the product through the line. And they're focusing on making sure that line is balanced. And so I believe that progressively every new vehicle going into every new factory is going to be faster and cheaper to build in its individual segment. So yeah, Cybertruck will be a little bit slower out the gate.